Liu Yuning stepped onto the stage in a long coat, cold metallic reflections catching the light, and within seconds the entire arena in Chengdu fell silent. Not because the music had started, not because of an explosive opening effect, but because in that moment, many people immediately realized this was not going to be an ordinary concert. Almost at the same time, a phrase began to appear on social media. It showed up in comments, captions, reposts, and private messages, repeated by different people who did not know each other, yet somehow chose the exact same words. He treated us far too generously. Not the concert was amazing, not it was worth the ticket price, but generous. A strangely intimate word to describe a large-scale concert. And yet, after 2 nights in Chengdu, it became the most accurate one. Liu Yuning did not walk onto the stage like a singer about to perform a set list. He walked out like someone who had already decided what kind of night this would be. The post-apocalyptic inspired coat, the angular sunglasses, the cold metallic details gave him the presence of a science fiction protagonist stepping into reality. The image alone was enough to flood social platforms within minutes. But the reason people stayed was not the styling. It was the way he stood at center stage, unhurried and steady, not rushing to create excitement, not forcing the audience to react. There was no visible tension, no urgency to impress. Instead, there was a quiet certainty, a kind of confidence that did not need validation. People watching realized very quickly that this was someone who knew exactly where he stood and why he was there. Most concerts begin with volume. Loud sound, fast beats, visual overload, designed to grab attention immediately. Liu Yuning did the opposite. He opened with restraint, with space, with calm. Within the first few lines he sang, the audience understood that this night would not be driven by spectacle. It would be guided by emotion. And not the kind of emotion that overwhelms, but the kind that slowly pulls you in. If this had been a YouTube video, those first 30 seconds alone would have been enough to stop viewers from clicking away. Not because something shocking happened, but because a question quietly formed in their minds. What is he going to do next? As the concert unfolded, it became increasingly clear that this was not a random collection of popular songs. The structure was deliberate, the pacing was intentional. Each segment felt placed exactly where it needed to be. Liu Yuning was not performing to a faceless crowd. He was performing to different groups of people who had arrived there for different reasons. When Changfeng Dao, Tianwen, and Wu Ho began, familiar scenes from his television dramas appeared on the massive screens behind him. For fans who had followed him through those roles, the experience shifted instantly. This was no longer just live music. It was memory being summoned. There was no need for explanations, no need to remind people which drama the song came from. The connection happened naturally. The audience did not need to be told how to feel, they already knew. Later, songs associated with variety shows entered the set list. These were placed carefully, not as filler, not as an afterthought. Fans who had discovered Liu Yuning through entertainment programs did not feel excluded or secondary. They recognized themselves in the atmosphere, in the rhythm of the show, in the way the emotional flow never left anyone behind. For longtime fans, the concert offered something different. Older songs like Swords Like Dreams and Suddenly I Remember You were rearranged, not drastically changed, not overproduced. The melodies remained familiar, but the arrangements felt refreshed, enough to signal that time had passed and yet nothing essential had been lost. It sent a quiet message. He remembered where he came from and who came with him. One of the most talked about moments came when Liu Yuning stood alone on stage and sang I Miss You in an a cappella version. There were no instruments, no backing track, just his voice filling the arena. Then something unexpected happened. The harmonies began to rise, not from the band, but from recordings of fans' voices that had been collected in advance. As the sound spread through the space, the entire arena seemed to breathe together. Thousands of voices blending with his, forming what fans later called a cloud chorus. At that moment, the boundary between performer and audience almost disappeared. This was not a one-directional performance. It felt like a shared experience. created together. The concert was not without unscripted moments. During colliding with the earth, Liu Yuning's belt unexpectedly loosened because of the intensity of the choreography. For a brief second, the illusion of perfection broke. He laughed, slightly embarrassed, adjusted it, and continued singing without missing a beat. The short clip spread rapidly online, not because of the mishap itself, but because of how human his reaction was. The contrast between his powerful stage persona and his relaxed natural response made people feel closer to him, not further away. But the moment that truly stayed with many people came during the interaction segment. 6 years earlier, a fan known as Socks had missed his 2018 concert because she could not catch her train. It was a small story, easy to forget. Liu Yuning did not. In Chengdu, he invited her onto the stage. They sang "It Won't Be Too Late" together. He handed her a ticket, completing a promise made years ago. There was no excessive dramatization. No long speech, no manufactured tears. Just a quiet, sincere moment that spoke louder than any scripted interaction ever could. It made something very clear. To him, fans were not anonymous faces in a crowd. When the 2 nights finally ended, the impact did not fade with the lights. Tickets for both shows had sold out in less than a second, briefly overwhelming the real name registration system. But numbers were not what people focused on afterward. Online, clips from the concert continued to circulate. Not just the big moments, but the smallest ones. A glance, a smile, the way he paused before speaking, the way he listened. People were not just talking about what they saw, they were talking about how they felt. Soon, a phrase began appearing everywhere: concert withdrawal syndrome. Thousands of posts described a lingering emptiness, a sense of emotional drop, a difficulty returning to everyday routines. This was not the usual post-event nostalgia. It was deeper, more personal. From an industry perspective, the Chengdu concerts quickly became a case worth studying. Not simply because of scale or exposure, but because of how clearly they demonstrated a two-way relationship between artist and audience. The tour was later recognized as one of the year's most influential, praised for balancing professionalism with genuine emotional connection. But beyond rankings, reports, and praise, what lingered most was something that could not be measured. Liu Yuning did not stand on stage just to sing. He stood there to remember, to keep promises, to make people feel seen. In an entertainment world that changes at breathtaking speed, where trends rise and fall overnight, where attention is fleeting and loyalty is fragile, that kind of connection has become rare. And perhaps that is why, after leaving the arena in Chengdu, so many people said they had not simply attended a concert. They had been treated far too generously,